Welcome to the Kawarthas Small Business Podcast, where we believe the Kawarthas can be the most thriving region in Canada for small businesses. I'm Brian from Profit Coach,
And I'm Matt Garrity from Matty G Digital.
and we are recording from the Thrive podcasting studio at Thrive Co-working Community at 18 Kent Street West in downtown Lindsay. And with us today, we have Louwop and his new album. Talk about his new album coming out. Tell us about that. Jump right in.
The new album is called La Ofrenda, which means the offering. And it started out as a different title, which was the title initially was going to be called Palante, which means move forward. But in the process of making it and creating it, a lot of the inspiration came from my trips to El Salvador, primarily one with a band I was with called Los Poetas, and the experiences that I had, with one, reconnecting with my roots, family, but also had a really awesome experience in neighboring Guatemala, which we were able to be a part of, like Mayan traditional ceremonies. So a lot of those things just really impacted me and made me want to dive into, learning more about the indigenous culture of El Salvador, like the traditions and so so this is my offering to to all those things that inspired me as an artist, as a musician. So I decided to change the title to La Ofrenda, which is the offering.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about, it's really cool to have on the podcast a local artist putting out an album. What goes into sort of that whole process of creating an album?
I have no idea. No, I'm kidding. You know what? It's there. Obviously, there is, I guess, to-do lists. But being an independent artist, the great thing about it is I don't have to necessarily be, tied down to a set list of things that have to happen or I have to, do. Juggling, business, Northwood Coffee, Fresh Fuel, juggling 4 kids, juggling, all their activities, my other activities, so many things. So it being an independent artist and trying to put an album out with all those things happening at once, it's tricky. It's it's really tricky. So with it, you plan out a good rollout, which we're in the process of. So trying to put out singles, to try to get more the idea leading up to the album. I'm work with a videographer, Third Eye Manolo, who shot most of my videos, and we're shooting some videos for the singles for the album, and just trying to create as much awareness and get as many eyes as I can on it. I'm working with a publicist, Nice Marmot, who she's, Mavis is the lady's name, and she's been doing an awesome job. So far, we've been getting some good reviews on some of the singles, and again, just leading up to album release day, and from there, you just keep, like any business, you just want to get as many eyes and ears and people through the doors, right? So you just keep putting it out in front of all those people as any opportunity that you can. So yeah, that's just my I guess my MO right now is just trying to do that as much as possible.
What's the, I don't really know a lot about the music business. I know it changes. Getting it in front of people, is there sort of radio stations, or is there sort of some tastemakers who create playlists that people follow? What is it you're kind of hunting after?
So I mean, if anything, it's easier now than ever, obviously, to put music out and to get music out. The hard part is, assuring that it gets heard and you filter through all the amount of music that is out. So yeah, ideally, what you want is, what I'm trying to do anyway is I'm just trying to cultivate a core audience that supports me, that gets what I'm trying to do, and that I can interact with and engage with, and then build from that. You know what I mean? I just want to build, again, it's just build a sense of building community. So trying to build community around the music, around the art. For example, we put out a single, Ghost, which deals with, trauma and just dealing with demons and emotions, and that really opened up conversations with people, like that may feel that way, right? And or people that may think like, oh, like, this guy's got 2 businesses and kids and everything seems great and happy. Like, he must not have any, to me, must not be battling any mental health issues or anything. But no, like, we all do. And so just tapping into those emotions and things that the music triggers, cultivate that. And then, yeah, from there, like, there's all, of course, you're trying to get into, certain playlists so that, you get ears on to the music. For video, same thing. You want, the eyes to hit the right. But a lot of it for me, I just want it to be as organic as possible and genuine. You know what I mean? I feel like that's how we treated, my wife and I with our business, like Northward Coffee and Fresh Fuel. It's been like a natural process and progress, and very, very community based. So I'm just applying that same kind of model to my music business. Is that?
Yeah, I was wondering, is putting an album out and music out like a business where the goal, I guess, ultimately is making money, making profit? Like, what's the goal of putting an album out?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is, there's 2 goals. I mean, there's a duality to it because, you have art, you're an artist,
Yeah.
right? So one is you want to create, of course. But to create, you need funding, you need money, you need time. So in order to create that time and money, you want what you create to be somewhat successful so that it continues to fuel more creation, right? So, the goal is obviously for it to be, self-sufficient, that it, it fuels and feeds more creativity and more projects, and you get to share and build and grow that community that you're trying to harvest.
Yeah, like, I think I'm good at marketing, but it would terrify me to market an album. Like, website's one thing, but then what do I do now? Like, am I putting ads out or social media? It's frightening. I don't even know what to do or where to start.
It's, I don't know. I think of it as just like it's just like any business. And that's one thing I've always like, I can't remember who it was, but there was someone who was like, said to me, an artist, like, it's important for artists to understand that they are small business owners. Right? And because at first you think I'm just making cool stuff. I'm just creating, right? But when you start to think of it as like, oh yeah, there's expenses, there's income, there's this, there's that. When you start thinking that way, then I think you start to be a little more, not, it can take away from the art, but it also makes you be, more aware and I think more deliberate on what you want to do sometimes, right? So that's a big thing, but I just think of it as like it's another business, and there's music and there's music business, right? And there's 2 separate things, but it's important to, like anything, just try to learn as much as you can about it, right? Like when we opened up a coffee shop, I love coffee, but did I know like the process of what I mean, like running a coffee shop and owning this or doing that? No, but you learn as you go along, right? And that's how you try to be successful. So it's the same type of thing. I mean, the music business constantly keeps changing. So I don't think you'll ever really know, like, the formula. Because even like, even big labels are like struggling, right? And then independent artists have gained leverage out of their independence and how easy it is now to put music out and promote it, independently. So it's cool because there's a lot of really creative things available and happening. And I mean, I think at heart, I'm just a creative person. So I just enjoy the whole process of it. And, if money comes, it comes, and amazing. But I just enjoy the process of being creative.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome that you can, do the process of being creative, and then ideally, make enough to self-fund it so you can keep creating versus, the labels, like they're trying to, make a profit, and they're, they're taking bets on signing so many people, knowing only a few will actually make their money. And,
I mean, if you look at all the big labels and the artists that are out on those labels, it's like it's just a rotating chair, right? It's like You know,
who's selling
it's
now, and
so free to break through. A lot of artists that are breaking through are people who are doing it independently.
independently different. The music. I know. I read this was a tweet by Andy Richter, but they were talking about kind of the writer's strike, and he was saying,
Right.
people have to remember the whole point of a late show is to fill in the spaces between the ads, because it's all about the advertisers. They want an audience to look at their ads, and you're just a bridge to make people money. And music, it's you can look at it that way. You're just something to put on the radio so that people listen to the ads, or something that goes on a streaming platform so that people buy into the streaming platform. From a business standpoint, I think from an art standpoint, we as humans have always loved music and art and different stories and novelty and artists. So there's just this interesting mix of like, are you making it for a business or making it as art, and then trying to get it to people who listen? And
I mean, I think it can go either way. It all depends on the person, but like for me, I just want to make cool shit. Like that's it.
Yeah,
that's bottom line. You know what I mean? Like I could have sold any coffee, but I wanted a Salvadoran coffee because I'm from El Salvador, and I want to tell a story through that. You know what I mean? And same with music. I could rap about, anything, but I want to rap about my culture and how that, how the stories impacted me, and how those, how community affects me, and the people I love, the people I cherish, and share those stories. And I want to make something that I want to hear. At the end of the day, I want to make stuff that I want to hear, and that I think is cool and great. And, if people like it, awesome. You know what I mean? If people want to, support it, amazing. Right. And then off of that, I always get ideas. I'm like, merch ideas and, all those things. And I'm like, I just want to make cool stuff that I can share, even if it's a shirt, I want to wear that shirt. Yeah, so it's not even, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that, okay, let's do this so we can make this much. I just think of like, it'd be cool if I had, I've never seen that, but let's make it. Right. And that's, again, like, I think I'm just a creative at heart. Even with the business, it's good. Like, my wife is definitely a numbers person. Because maybe we wouldn't be in business if it was just me. But we'd just be making a lot of cool coffee stuff. No. But yeah, I mean, it and again, it's all, I've been doing this for a long time. Like, I started when I was in high school. I put my first piece of vinyl out in '98.
Wow.
And back then, I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew you have to press vinyl because you got to serve as a DJs. Yeah. Right? And that was the era I grew up in. So it was like, okay, we got to get a 12-inch, hit up every DJ, hit up every radio show, and, go to as many open mics or get on anything you could and perform. And that was it. And that's as far as I knew. I didn't know about any marketing strategies or like, there was, and that has changed so much to now with, online, social media. It's a whole different ballgame, right? Like, even before, I remember you got, like, okay, tonight we're going to this radio show, we're walking to this radio show, we're, cabbing it to here. Like, now I can just like, boop, one email, it's like, I can service the world, you know what I mean? And it's like, so everything changes. And, through it all, it's been a learning process on like what worked, what didn't work. And that's one thing, like, I feel like I've always been aware of, like, just studying things, trying, like, trial and error. Like, I tried that, okay, well, that didn't work, I'm not gonna do that again, or how can I do that better? So it's always those things, and that's, I feel like that's what I'm really happy about this album, because it is like, it's everything that has made me an artist. From, my earlier stuff, everything was in English. And again, like I said, I went, with Los Poetas to El Salvador, and that was my first, like, Spanish project. And that opened me up to, that side of my creative, to do things in Spanish. And then there was a conversation I had with a rapper friend who, he was like, man, like, I keep wanting to hear you and rap in Spanish. Like you say a few little words, but you never like fully rap in Spanish. I remember saying to him like, yeah, so one day I want to do like a full album in Spanish. And he's like, yeah, man, because we're only hearing half of you. And I was like, holy shit. When he said that, I was like, yeah. And then I realized like, yeah, like there's another side of myself I don't even really know, you know what I mean? Or I haven't, tapped into. And so that's what, really inspired me to like go down and explore and get to know more about myself and the music and really, express that. So I'm excited that this album is like, all those years of trying, have led to now. And then, maybe 3-4 more albums down the road, I'll be like, I'm really excited about this album, this album, So, but yeah, it's a process. I think like anything, like any venture, it's trial and error, and yeah, just have fun with it.
Yeah, it's exciting. Is there a big like uh, live music culture in this niche? Like, will you be out? Does that still exist?
Yeah, there. I mean, there is. Like, there's definitely live music scenes and pockets and that kind of stuff. With what this album that I put together, I mean, it's majority in Spanish. So it'll be interesting to see, how that plays out. I think, like, with English speaking audience, like, but I think what I've created is like, it's universal, like music's universal, and it's felt, and I think anyone can dig it and get into it. But it's that being said, there's definitely like heavier demographic markets. So like Latino populations that would like gravitate towards the music because it is Spanish speaking.
Yeah,
would be like your Toronto, like Montreal, BC, and then like in the States you got like Maryland, Chicago, New York, LA, right? So it's like all those markets. So yeah, I mean, but like I said, like for me right now, I just want to get as many eyes and ears to it. So wherever I can get an opportunity to share it and present it, I will.
Music is one of those universal things because even when you just said that most of that album was Spanish,
Yeah,
I've listened to that album like 10 or 12 times. I did not realize that until right now. I'm not kidding. Like I just like it was just music. It was hip hop. It was fun. It was edgy. It was different. It was soulful. It was like full of love. Like I didn't even realize until I'm like thinking here. I'm like, what is he talking about? Like I guess like okay, but it's funny. Like I don't hear that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's different live, but I think it's just one of those things. Like if you're into Louwop, Lewis,
yeah,
Los Poetas, all those things. You like hip hop, you're just gonna be drawn to it.
nice.
And I think it's just gonna be one of those things where it doesn't matter that it's mostly Spanish because someone that's listened to it,
Well,
no idea.
And that being said, I mean, right now, like the biggest music in the world is Spanish speaking music, right?
Sure.
Like, some of the biggest artists are Spanish speaking artists. So, yeah, I just feel music is music. You know what I mean? Like you'll feel it, and maybe it'll encourage everyone to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah.
So is your publicist like hustling all these markets and getting you on the radio and?
That's what we hope. Yes.
That's exciting. I'm endlessly fascinated by music's one of those things where there's so many niches, and I know there's certain niches I like where I get excited about like an artist coming to like the town next to you that like you go and there's a room full of people, but it's not like most people don't know that exists. So I just really appreciate when I see that stuff happening. So I'm always curious to see just where those pockets are.
Right.
That type of music.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I'm going to be performing here in Lindsay November 10th. Just trying to like solidify everything, but I'm excited to perform, and I'm going to be bringing good friends of mine, SWA, Salseros with Attitude, which is a live band that I worked with, Los Poetas, and they're just like top-notch musicians. Like they're just unreal. So I'm excited for everyone like to see them,
Yeah, I'm excited for that because I think I got the one album
okay.
from Los Poetas. Was there like a whole side? Were they on that?
Yeah, there's a salsa
whole
version that we did, which they ended up playing, and that's how we met. So we did a salsa remix of our album, and that's how we met, where they started playing everything live. And so I all the confidence in the world, they're just gonna kill this album once we start doing it. And that's the cool thing again about this, this project is like I get a chance to like share the things that I like. I get to share with the community, share with friends, with people, and so I mentioned that stuff to so many people. So now to be like, this is the band I'm talking about, like check them out, and them backing me up and learning the album. So I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, we got to get him to perform at the Grove next summer. Have you been to the Grove in Fenway?
I haven't, but I've heard great things about it.
It's an incredible experience. I think it'd just be so amazing to have you there. And
so the Grove
we
got to hook that. We just had one of the founders in here an hour ago. Like, we know
amazing!
Him. Yeah,
we're gonna. The manager of the Grove, her name's Nicole Mitchell. It's on our list to be on the show, and her husband Chris. This is kind of related. He used to be like the world's foremost, hip hop rap
Chris.
Battle.
Really?
Battle Rap Chris.
Yeah, he's like traveled the world. He used to be like L.A., New York, London,
Chris,
like battle rap. Like he covered it.
Yeah.
He also did all the breaking news on like if you watch like MSN Canada. He was like the guy launching all the breaking news on like digital marketing. But yeah.
Kawarthas Lakes, man, I'm telling you, it's the hot zone right now.
Yeah, that's.
I had no idea. I'm like Googling this now.
Yeah.
Holy, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, he goes to the Rips CrossFit with us at the gym.
Nice.
Yeah, he shout out to Battle Rap Chris. Get him in retirement.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. Yeah. What's your process writing lyrics? And there's a reason why I'm asking. I don't know if I should ask it now, but like, how similar is it to a business idea where you've got this idea in your head and you're like, I got to get this out. I got to formulate this.
It can be sometimes. The writing lyrics for this project in particular, like everything else I've ever done before, I would get like the beat, let's say from a producer. And for example, like Los Poetas process, there was 3 of us writing. So, I would get the beat, I'd write to it on my end, another guy would write to it on his end, blah, 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 and then we'd meet up and record. So, which is great. The way we recorded this album is like my favorite, by far, my favorite way to do it was I met with David Ariza, who's a producer. He produced the entire album. He played every instrument on it. The kid is unbelievably talented. Love him to death. And we got together and we would spend a day. So we'd get there and be like, okay, here's the beat. He'd make it. And as he was making it, I'd have either a hook idea, a chorus idea, or like you said, like an idea I wanted to get out. And I would maybe send that to him like prior to like on the way down, like, hey, and I would like record the chorus. Like, I have this idea for a chorus, da da da. And I'd send it to him like, awesome. And I'd get there and he would be playing something. And as he's making the beat, I would write the lyrics. And then he would just be like, okay, what do you think? I'm like, good, let's record. And he'd be like, you wrote already? I'm like, and we'd record and finish a song every day. So I'd go down and just like record and write. And one of my favorite ones that we wrote was, it's called No Soy de Aquí, No Soy de Allá, which means I'm not from here, I'm not from there. And it's one of the songs where I'm somewhat singing, I'm not rapping. So what was cool in the writing process of this, that we mumbled melodies instead of words, right? So we would, we played the track and we just mumbled stuff like
just mumble rap.
Yeah. And we did that, and then we cut and pasted it into a flow and a pattern, and then we had a pattern, and then we wrote the words that would fit that melody, right? Mm-hmm. So then we'd be like, okay, now what is this? Okay, we'll do that. We wrote. And so that was just a cool new way that, I'd never really written like that. And it was awesome. And the way it came out, and I love it. So, yeah, the process of writing lyrics, for me, it's definitely something I always, some of these songs I've had in me for God knows how long. And I just definitely something I've been wanting to get out of me, right? And so okay, I could be kind of like, I guess, a business plan, maybe. I don't know. I think it's just getting an idea out, just like putting anything to paper, right? Just like put it to paper, and then you can chisel it, finesse it, or whatever. But for this particular album, that was the main thing, that we would sit, write music, write lyrics, and record on the same day. And we did that with all 10 songs, which was it was awesome.
So it only took you 10 days to record the album, technically?
Technically, I went back maybe for, I think I went back for 2 to add like a verse. And then we went back to retrack, which meant like some things we had to like re-record once they were already written, right? So it would be like, like this part, like you can do it better. And he was very like, he was on me, man. Like, yeah, love David. He was just, he was hardcore. He would be like, nah, do it again. Or he's like, do it like this. I'm like, I am doing like that. No, you're not. You're doing like this. Do it like this. Yeah. So he's definitely made me a better MC and writer working with him. So yeah.
The weird thing about music too, and like art, and this is why I'm not really an artist, you never feel like you're probably done. Like it would be so hard to release that album, and like your gut probably is like, I got more to say. For like a business, I'm like, all right, let's put up these walls for Thrive.
Yeah.
And we're done. Yeah. And we can grow it, and we can change and evolve. But like with art, you're putting something out there, painting, music, video, and like it's done.
Yeah. But you know what? I had nothing holding me back from being like, I knew the last song that we recorded was the one I recorded with my daughter, Bailey. She's on the album. And that day I was like, this is the last song. Like I knew, I was like, this is the final, this is the last song of the album. Mm-hmm. Like I knew where, like this is how the album's going to end. It's going to end with this way with her, and like this song in particular. And right there I was like, okay, that's it. Album's done. I was like, that was the closing. I mean, the closing chapter of that album. Yeah. And it did for me. We just kind of like, we don't get to create now. You know what I mean? Because now it's like, now we got to put on the business hat. And like, okay, now we got to get all these things going, right? And they can get creative with that too. But that joy of like, let's just hang out and make some music and write some lyrics and record it. Be like, that sounds a bit, to know that came to an end. It sucked. You know what I mean? It's just like, shit, it's over. But it's also nice to be like, okay, now the next step. Yeah. And even now it's like, okay, now the next step is that now I get to like, the band needs to learn the music, and we can do some shows, and then like there's that whole aspect of it. So that it's always a creative, do you know what I mean? Like process that one thing has to end for the other to begin. So I feel like, I knew going in how many, I'm going to tell this story in 10 songs, and I want it to be, I knew, I had an idea of what I wanted to say and how, what it was going to take to do it. So it wasn't a hard moment, but you just knew it had to come to an end.
Is there a pressure to be on the clock and perform also? Meaning like, okay, it's time to do art. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well,
that would stress me out if someone's like, all right, you got to do this from this hour to this hour. And I guess we all do it, but
that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, like I do it with marketing, but at the same time, it'd be like, okay, it's something just so different and maybe intangible for me of being like performing art on this clock. But
yeah, I mean, growing up, and still, right, but growing up, paying for studio time, and being, younger, single, and not much income. So knowing that, what you saved up to get that studio time made me really prepared and not waste time. Like I would be like, I would never be that guy to be like, oh, I'll come back next week and finish. I was like, nah, we're finishing today. Like I'm here. Like we're getting this song done. You know what I mean? So I was always prepared, always ready. I try to be as professional as I could be, but it was definitely always like it instilled that in me to do like make the use of that time to get the idea out. And then now again, like with juggling so many other things, a lot of my creative time that I have for myself is usually in the car when I'm dropping off my kids or going to work or picking something up. Do you know what I mean? So those are my alone moments where I can be like, let me go over that idea in my head, and they'll go that idea in my head, and I get that idea. Driving down to the studio, I leave here, then drive down to Toronto, and the whole drive down, I would like, that's why I said sometimes I'd be like, oh, I got the hook, and I'd record it, and I would send it, and then show up, and never really thought of it as time. Like I would never, really be looking at the clock, but definitely more aware of the idea coming to life as opposed to like, oh, I gotta get this done by it's 2:00. Oh snap! Oh, it's 4. Like it was just more like, okay, let's get the beat up. That beat's good. Okay, it's good enough to record now. Record, and he would then fine tune any other things, whatever. Once I left, but we would get the idea out, and that was the main thing. Just to leave with like, okay, we put everything on the board. We got everything out. Awesome, and then we could walk away.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how many songs do you think you have in your mind?
I don't know.
If your wife wasn't listening, how many songs?
No, she's she's so supportive and has been so supportive through everything that every creative thing I've done, and it took time for even us to to get the business to where it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so that now, it gives me that time to like, okay, I can focus on Louwop and do that. When we met and we moved up here, that's the last time I put a solo album out, which was The Great Escape. And I moved here and, I worked it. I didn't even know if I really worked it. It was just kind of like, let's put a record out and blah, 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 because it was done. And she knows how much, this means to me and how much I wanted to do this. So, she's amazing and so supportive. But how many songs am I have? Jesus.
I just think that's a fun number to try to guess.
I don't know because it's ideas just keep coming, right? So I can't even say like I have X amount.
Do you think in beats or do you think in lyrics? So like of these X amount of songs, are you like, do you have beats in your head, or are they actually I gotta get these lines out? There's
lines. There's beat ideas, melodies. So it's always, it's a mix of things. There is moments where I'm like, there's something I want to say. Like I want to say this, right? So stuff like that. But I think it's just ideas. I could that I could just be like, and I'm like, okay, like I'll just off of that, and let's add a bass. Let's add. This and like, oh, Nicole added horns, and then you just start thinking of all these things, and then it just snowballs, right? So there's a lot of times that's how it happens. I'll be like driving, and it could be inspired by like I'm listening to something, like it could be a word that someone said, like, and then I'll go into my own. Then I shut it off, and I start writing my own thing in my head, and so it's never ending. So I don't think I can even give you a number.
I just think that it's fun to think about. The power of the mind, and you'll probably never get them all out, and you'll just keep getting new ones and get better at creating.
Eventually go crazy because you can't get them all out.
It's
mad scientist just sitting there.
There are worse things, I think, to have spinning around in your mind. You sort of teased a little bit, but is there some really cool merch coming out with this album?
There's a couple of things that like with the coffee, for example, having worked closely with Fireback Coffee, who is a roaster out of Oakville. Gustavo is from El Salvador. From the first moments when we started working together, we would FaceTime a lot, and it was just like as if I was talking to like a cousin. I was just like, just instantly, blah, 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 talk. And we finally met this summer. He came up. I actually went to see him, And then he came up here, he spent the night, we hung out, and people were like, "Oh, did you guys know each other in El Salvador?" I was like, "Nope, it's my second time ever meeting this man." But you just hit it off, right? He's just a great dude and great company that he has and great product. So we're gonna do a limited edition blend named after the album.
Oh, that's cool.
Which will be low fan.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. So it'll be an exclusive fire bat. Being from their farm, which is Balam, which translates to Jaguar, which is really excited because I got to go to that farm when we were down there in April. Got a tour of it and I got to see the crop.
That's really cool. Like it's great coffee. Like shout out to Firebat. Like I'm definitely a fan, and that's just a really cool story. And like,
oh man,
humans, we love stories.
Yeah.
We love beverages. We love coffee, and like I go on this whole like history economics thing where I think in beverages, and it's so cool. And this just adds to both of those things together. So it's just exciting.
You think in music, and he thinks in beverages.
Yeah, beverages, economics, people movement, right? Like there's a lot of things in the world have happened because of people seeking out beverages.
That's right. But yeah, so that's one. And then we'll have obviously like the t-shirts and the typical merch stuff. But yeah, you'll see what those you'll see them when they come out.
That's awesome.
Awesome. So what's the best way for folks to support an independent artist with an album?
With an album, buy merch. But yeah, like seriously, as an independent artist, I feel like majority of the money and that you generate is from merch, from vinyl, which is coming. I got vinyl coming, so we'll have vinyl, and then sharing the music, right? Like just if you like it, share with the people that you love, and more people will get into it, and more people will share it. I feel it's like just like supporting a local business that you like, oh man, I went to this burger spot. It was so good. I gotta take you.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like I heard this song. You gotta hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's the same. I feel that to me anyway. That's just how I'm approaching it. It's the same kind of format, and I think that just creates like just an organic community around it. You know what I mean? Like it's not it's not a bot. Bot. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, he's got, that one song has like a million, and you see that, right? You'll see like, oh, it has 1 million views, and then you go to the song, it's like, oh, it's only been spun like 50 times, but how did it,
Yeah.
So, I'd rather be an organic thing. To support, first you can check out my website, designed by the man himself.
Louwop.ca.
That's right, Louwop.ca.
I am so biased, but it's a sick website. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like we've designed 100 websites. This one's so good. Like top 5. It's just cool.
Love it.
So cool.
Yeah, so we'll be adding the merch page and all that to it soon.
Awesome.
And we got 2 singles out right now. Frijoles, which is beans, Ghosts. And the next one will be No Soy de Aquí, No Soy de Allá, which I referenced earlier, like the more of a sing-songy debut of Louwop. We shot an amazing video, short film really, with Manolo, which I'm excited to see. I'll be getting that shortly, and I can't wait to share that with everybody. And then the album's out, and just push.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so check out Louwop.ca. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
If you're listening and would like to be on the show, if you're an artist dropping an album, it'd be cool to have another album drop guest on the show. But you can find us at Set It Up at Kawarthas Small Business Podcast.ca.